I need you to hear something that might sting a little. You are throwing away the most valuable crop your land produces. Every spring, every summer, every fall, you walk out into your garden, you see those familiar green leaves pushing up through the mulch in the rows, and you reach down and rip them out by the roots. You toss them into a pile, you let them rot, or you bag them up and send them away. And all the while, you are destroying plants that are more nutritious than your kale, more medicinal than your herb garden, and more ecologically important than anything you planted on purpose. This is not an exaggeration. This is not a gimmick. The 10 weeds I'm going to show you today represent a massive, untapped, and completely free resource that most gardeners destroy without a second thought. By the end of this video, you will never look at your garden weeds the same way again. In fact, you might just start letting some of them grow on purpose. Let's start with number 1, dandelion. And I know, you've heard this before. Dandelions are edible. But I'm not sure you understand just how thoroughly this plant outperforms the vegetables you're growing right next to it. 1 cup of dandelion greens contains more vitamin A than a cup of kale, more iron than spinach, more calcium than broccoli, and a full spectrum of trace minerals including magnesium, potassium, manganese, copper, and zinc. Those minerals are there because the dandelion's taproot, that long, stubborn root you've been trying to dig out for years, drills deep into the subsoil and pulls up nutrients that your shallow-rooted garden vegetables can never reach. The bitterness you've been avoiding? That's medicine. The sesquiterpene lactones in dandelion greens stimulate the liver, support bile production, and improve digestion. The root contains inulin, a prebiotic fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria and helps regulate blood sugar. Roast those roots, grind them, and you have a caffeine-free coffee substitute that actually supports liver health instead of stressing your adrenal glands. The flowers make wine. The young leaves, blanched briefly, make a side dish that your grandmother would have recognized as a spring tonic. Dandelion is not your enemy. It's your multivitamin, your liver tonic, and your mineral supplement, all growing for free in the cracks of your sidewalk. Number 2, purslane. If dandelion is the multivitamin, purslane is the brain food. This low-growing, fleshy, succulent weed is one of the richest plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids on the planet. Specifically, it contains alpha-linolenic acid, the same anti-inflammatory, heart-protective, brain-supporting fat found in fish oil. You can't grow salmon in your garden, but you can grow purslane without even trying. Purslane also contains more vitamin E than spinach, more beta-carotene than carrots, and a significant dose of magnesium, potassium, and glutathione. That last one is a master antioxidant that your own body produces, but production declines with age. Eating purslane gives you a direct dietary source. The leaves and stems are crisp and juicy with a lemony, slightly salty tang. They belong in your salad, on your taco, wilted into your soup, or pickled in your pantry. And here's the kicker. Purslane thrives in the hottest, driest, most neglected corners of your garden. While your lettuce is bolting and your spinach is wilting, purslane is thriving. Stop pulling it. Start eating it. Number 3, stinging nettle. This plant hurts you because it loves you. The tiny hairs on the leaves and stems inject a cocktail of histamine, acetylcholine, and formic acid, causing that familiar burning sting. But blanch those leaves for 30 seconds, and that sting is gone forever, replaced by one of the most nutrient-dense green vegetables you have ever put on a plate. Nettle is packed with iron, calcium, magnesium, silica, and protein. Yes, protein. By dry weight, nettle leaves can be up to 25% protein, rivaling soybeans. The silica supports strong hair, nails, and connective tissue. The iron is highly absorbable. Nettle tea was the traditional spring tonic across Europe for centuries, specifically to rebuild the blood after a long winter of preserved foods. Nettle also makes an exceptional liquid fertilizer for your garden. Steep fresh nettle leaves in a bucket of water for 2 weeks. The resulting liquid, often called nettle tea, is rich in nitrogen, potassium, and trace minerals. Dilute it and water your plants. They will respond with vigorous dark green growth.
You can buy expensive organic fertilizers from the garden center, or you can use the weed growing behind your barn. The weed is better.
Number 4. Chickweed. This delicate, low-spreading plant with the tiny white star-shaped flowers is one of the first green things to appear in spring. It's so tender and mild that it can be eaten raw by the handful, and it tastes like a softer, sweeter spinach, with absolutely none of the bitterness that puts people off dandelion. Chickweed is rich in vitamin C, iron, calcium, and saponins that gently support the lymphatic system. Traditional herbalists use chickweed as a cooling, moistening herb for dry skin, irritated eyes, and sluggish elimination. It makes an excellent salad base, a sandwich green, or a wilted addition to stir-fries and soups. And because it grows in cool weather, it fills a critical gap in the garden calendar. When your summer crops are just seedlings, chickweed is already producing food. Chickweed also tells you something important about your soil. It thrives in rich, moist, fertile ground. A dense patch of chickweed is a sign that you're doing something right. Don't punish the messenger. Number 5. Lamb's quarters. Also known as wild spinach, this upright silvery green weed is a relative of quinoa and beets, and it outperforms spinach in almost every nutritional category. More protein, more calcium, more vitamin A, vitamin C, and B-complex vitamins. The leaves are mild and nutty with no oxalic acid bite. They cook down exactly like spinach, but hold their texture better. Lamb's quarters was a staple food crop for Native American agricultural systems, often grown intentionally in the spaces between corn and beans. The seeds are also edible, a close relative of quinoa, and can be harvested and cooked the same way. A single lamb's quarters plant can produce tens of thousands of tiny black seeds, a grain crop hiding in plain sight. When you pull a lamb's quarters out of your garden bed, you are removing a plant that is more nutritious than the kale you're protecting, more resilient than the spinach you're coddling, and more generous with its harvest than almost anything you planted intentionally. That's a bad trade. Number 6. Plantain. Not the banana. The low-growing weed with the broad, ribbed leaves that infests your lawn and your garden paths. Broadleaf plantain and its narrow-leafed cousin are among the most useful medicinal plants on the planet, and the young leaves are also perfectly edible. The medicinal magic of plantain is in its ability to heal skin. The leaves contain allantoin, a compound that stimulates cell proliferation and tissue repair. Crush a leaf between your fingers and apply it to a bee sting, a mosquito bite, a scrape, a minor burn, or a splinter. The pain and swelling subside within minutes. Plantain is antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and astringent. It's the field bandage you always have with you. Internally, plantain tea soothes irritated mucous membranes and supports digestive health. The young, tender leaves can be blanched and sautéed as a green. The seeds can be harvested and used as a fiber supplement, similar to psyllium husk, which comes from a related plant. And all of this is growing in the strip of grass between your driveway and the street. Number 7. Wood sorrel. This charming little plant with the shamrock-like leaves and the tiny yellow or white flowers tastes like lemon candy. That bright, sour zing comes from oxalic acid, the same compound found in spinach and rhubarb, and it makes wood sorrel one of the most refreshing wild snacks you can find. Wood sorrel is rich in vitamin C and has been traditionally used to quench thirst, cool fevers, and treat scurvy. Add a handful to a salad for a citrusy pop that replaces lemon juice. Muddle it into a cold drink. Float the leaves and flowers on a summer soup. The flavor is so bright and accessible that kids love it. It's often the first wild plant children learn to nibble. Wood sorrel grows in shady, moist spots at the base of trees, in garden edges, and between pavers. It's delicate, beautiful, and so easy to harvest that you'll wonder why you ever bought lemons. Number 8. Garlic mustard. This is the weed that conservationists love to hate because it's a highly invasive species in North American woodlands. But here's the thing. Every part of garlic mustard is edible, and it's genuinely delicious. The leaves smell and taste like garlic crossed with mustard greens. The young leaves can be eaten raw in salads or blended into a pesto that will change your life. The older leaves are better cooked. The flower buds can be sautéed like broccoli rabe. The roots taste like a mild horseradish.
If you're going to pull garlic mustard,
And in many places you should, because it harms native ecosystems. You might as well eat it. Every plant you harvest and consume is one less plant producing seeds. It's the rare case where your appetite actively helps the environment. Garlic mustard is rich in vitamins A, C, and K, along with a range of glucosinolates, the same cancer-fighting compounds found in broccoli and kale. The plant was introduced to North America by European settlers specifically as a food crop. It just got a little too comfortable. That's not the plant's fault. Number 9. Red clover. If you have a lawn or a pasture, you have red clover. Those pinkish-purple globes on slender stems are not just pretty, they are a pharmacy. Red clover blossoms are rich in isoflavones, plant compounds that gently modulate estrogen activity in the body. Traditional herbalists use red clover as a blood purifier, a skin remedy for eczema and psoriasis, and a support for women navigating menopause. The blossoms can be harvested, dried, and used for tea. The fresh blossoms can be pulled apart and the tiny individual florets sprinkled onto salads, where they add a touch of sweetness and a burst of color. The young leaves are also edible, though a bit fuzzy. Red clover is also one of the most important plants for pollinators, feeding bumblebees and honeybees throughout the growing season. And it's a nitrogen fixer, pulling nitrogen from the air and depositing it in the soil, fertilizing your garden for free. Your lawnmower sees a weed. I see a medicinal tea, a bee pasture, and a free fertilizer plant. Number 10. Yarrow, Achillea millefolium. This feathery-leaved plant with the flat-topped clusters of white or pink flowers has been a battlefield wound medicine for millennia. Its genus name, Achillea, comes from Achilles, the Greek warrior who supposedly used yarrow to staunch the bleeding of his soldiers. Yarrow is a powerful styptic. Crush the leaves and apply them to a cut, and they help stop bleeding almost immediately. It's also anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and astringent. Yarrow tea is a traditional remedy for colds and fevers as it opens the pores and promotes sweating, helping the body break a fever naturally. In the garden, yarrow is a powerhouse of ecological services. Its flowers attract beneficial insects, including predatory wasps, ladybugs, and hoverflies that eat aphids and other pests. Its deep roots bring up minerals from the subsoil. Chopped yarrow leaves added to the compost pile accelerate decomposition, and it makes a beautiful, long-lasting cut flower. Yarrow has been found in Neanderthal burial sites, making it one of the oldest known medicinal plants in human history, and you've been mowing it down. So, here we are. 10 weeds: dandelion, purslane, stinging nettle, chickweed, lamb's quarters, plantain, wood sorrel, garlic mustard, red clover, and yarrow. Every single one of them is more nutritious, more medicinal, or more ecologically valuable than many of the vegetables and ornamentals you're buying from the garden center. And every single one of them is growing on your property right now for free. This is not a call to let your garden go completely wild. There is a balance between cultivation and wildness, between the vegetables you want and the weeds that show up uninvited. But the knee-jerk reaction of pulling every unplanned plant on site is costing you. It's costing you free food. It's costing you free medicine. It's costing you the soil health that these deep-rooted, mineral-mining plants are trying to build. And it's costing you the connection to a deeper, older way of relating to the land, one where you are not at war with the wild, but in partnership with it. So here's my challenge. This week, before you pull a weed, stop. Identify it, learn its name, find out what it does, and ask yourself honestly whether that plant might have more to offer you in your kitchen, in your medicine cabinet, or in your soil than it does in the compost pile. You might be surprised by the answer, and you might just find that the most valuable crop on your homestead is the one you never planted. If this video changed the way you see the plants around you, hit that thumbs up so more gardeners can discover the value hiding in plain sight. And if you're not subscribed yet, join this community of everyday harvesters who are learning to see the land not as a battlefield, but as a feast.